The 2018 Mine Occupational Health and Safety Summit addressed challenges and solutions facing health and safety in the mining sector, occupational diseases and cultural transformation. The summit was held earlier this week in Benoni. The Mine Health and Safety Council says that mining disasters are on the increase in South Africa, although there has been a significant drop in fatalities. Mineral Resources Minister Gwede Mantashe said that the industry should strive for a zero harm, where all mine workers return from work unharmed every day. We're now joined in studio by David Msiza, the Chief Inspector of Mines at the Department of Mineral Resources. Very good evening to you, sir. We thank you very much for your time. Essentially, what were the outcomes of the summit?
Good evening, and good evening to the viewers as well. As you clearly indicated, the main purpose of the summit was to reflect on the recent disasters that we had and some of the fatalities that we've experienced this year. And Minister decided to move forward the summit. We plan to hold it in November. We held it on Thursday and yesterday as well, just to reflect on what were the challenges and what measures we can implement to improve on the current challenges. Now, the issues that we were looking at really is the rockfall or seismic-related accidents, because most of the fatalities in our mining sector are caused by rockfall and seismic-related accidents, mainly in the gold mines, and also followed by fires. We had a disaster early this year in Palabora as well, so there was a discussion regarding that matter as well. However, we felt that it's very important to also focus on health issues, because there's more people who die because of health than accidents. In terms of health, you don't see the people who die, because it takes time for one to come up with a disease. So we have a reflection of all these on fatalities, injuries and diseases, and say what can we do to improve on that. Now, there were commissions that were formed to look at the different challenges, and they came up with proposed solutions on what to deal. One of them is the issue of culture that you've referred to. We believe that behavior also, not only of the workers, but at the executive level, it tends to lead to unsafe behavior or risky behavior in the mine. So we've looked at leadership, we've looked at bonuses as well, because sometimes the bonuses, if you don't take care, you can use it as a bad carrot that will lead to people to take chances. So we've looked at that as well. We've looked at what measures we can put together to deal with it. Also, I think it's important for me to highlight that one of the complaints that we've been receiving as a department is from the workers who are complaining that they're being victimized and intimidated if they want to exercise their right to withdraw from unsafe working places. So we've had discussions on how they can truly exercise that. So I think that has also helped us.
Now, earlier on in the year, the Mine Health and Safety Council had a call for greater engagement to take place between the Department of Mineral Resources, trade unions, workers, and essentially the companies that, you know, they do say that sometimes put pressure on those workers who feel intimidated to go underground and work, as their importance or their main focus is rather on being productive rather than putting the rights as well as the safety of workers first.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, over the past 2 days, there were CEOs who were present from major mining companies as well, who were present at the summit. There were leaders of organized labor, including AMCU, NUM, WASA, and Solidarity. I think what impressed me, really, is that when the two leaders of AMCU and NUM embraced, and they were saying to us, they can compete on other issues, but on the lives of the mine workers, they can't. They have to work together. And I think for me, it really impressed me, and it was encouraging. And all of the leaders who were talking, including the minister, our minister, and the Minister Mtswaledi of health as well, they were saying we have to make sure that we achieve the goal of zero harm, as the minister clearly indicated.
Yeah.
Earlier. Yeah.
In terms of the reforms that have now been proposed, you know, for the workers, what essentially were some of those outcomes? We saw at the Stillwater's Driefontein mine, 13 miners being trapped, 7 dying, 6 being injured, 7 miners too many. And there's also been reports saying that, you know, South African mines are prone to having seismic events because they are so deep. So what reforms is the department going to put forward in terms of better technology, in terms of better infrastructure, in terms of better sightseeing on the ground?
No, I think you're raising a good point, because as I indicated, most of the fatalities, in fact, injuries and diseases, they occur in our gold mines. One of the reasons is the depth that we've indicated to, and we also have old mines, you know, which have diminishing reserves. In other words, the good reserves are gone, you know. So we have agreed with the sector that we'll actually have to look at the design of the mines, the way they plan the production in such a way that it doesn't put the workers at risk as well. From the department side, we've agreed that we must continue with our work on enforcing the provisions of the Mine Health and Safety Act, especially during this last period of the, in other words, between October and December and probably January, because we call it a silly season. That's where we experience most of the fatalities. So we are planning, as just ministers also indicated to us, that we must now focus on monitoring the mines. So we have planned, identified and prioritized the mines that we want to focus on. But we're going to work with the CEOs and the organized labor to ensure that there's a sustainable improvement.
Now, in terms of the companies, of course, you mentioned many of the CEOs that were in fact in attendance at this summit. What sort of pressure is the department going to be putting on those companies to ensure that, you know, their focus is on the workers and not necessarily just getting production up? We saw some of the reports that, you know, a lot of companies were not happy with the Zero Harm campaign, saying that it's affecting productivity and that in fact productivity has decreased.
I think if you know, South Africa is about just less than about 2,000 mines, right? And the serious accidents, the accidents, they happen in fewer mines compared to the overall sector. Now we will continue. Obviously, we always say that our approach is no one should work until it's safe at a mine. And we have taken that approach with the mines, including with the CEOs, by the way, to say, look, they had to ensure that they put appropriate or effective mine health and safety management system to attain that goal of zero harm. There are mines, there are mining companies, including gold mines, by the way, that went for more than a year without a fatality. So we believe that all the mines can achieve that, you know. Our coal sector, I'll make an example as well, it's performing pretty well compared to other best performing countries in the world, including Australia, the USA and Canada as well. So we believe that it's achievable, the goal of zero harm, but we have to work together. And it can't be only the responsibility of the department to ensure that that happens. In other words, the employers, organized labor, collectively we have to play that role to achieve the goals. And we strongly were bullish about it, that we can be able to achieve that.
At the summit, was the issue of illegal mining a topic that came up? And what is the department looking at around some of those reforms there?
There were discussions on illegal mining that previously took place as well, but the department is seized with the matter, including the respective and the affected mines. We are also working with law enforcement agencies. As you are aware, mainly illegal mining affects the gold sector, partly the chrome sector as well. So we are engaging with the sector and also law enforcement agencies. And in fact, law enforcement agencies have done extremely well in achieving in arresting some of the kingpins and the people who are involved in that. But our approach as a department is, where possible, we should encourage the provisions of the MPRDA. In other words, where you can mine effectively and make money out of it, we will assist those who are genuinely want to mine. But those who want to take risks, because generally illegal mining, especially the gold mines, is driven by syndicates, illegal syndicates, and hence we're involved in law enforcement agencies. So we are encouraging mining, legitimate mining. We are assisting those who want to mine, in other words, in terms of licensing, and also where there's probably a need for funding, we also look at opportunities on how we can really assist them, including the technical assistance as well, on how to mine safely. As well, we are working with the respective entities of the department to help them in that regard. How does that regulation work, and how is it facilitated and essentially kept an eye on? For instance, I'll just make an example. There are areas where people are mining, there might be chrome, mainly in Limpopo, because it has, last year and the previous year, it has been a significant challenge on illegal chrome mining. We've been engaging with affected companies as well. We were saying to them, look, if you are not mining the chrome, help us to assist those who can really make use of the area that you have a license on. So we assist the people who have interest. with the licensing and following the law, and to legitimize the process of the mining area.
Well, thank you very much for your time this evening on the Mine Occupational Health and Safety Summit. That was David Msiza, the Chief Inspector of Mines at the Department of Mineral Resources.